Hello everyone, and welcome to the Anova video. This video is going to detail how you perform in Anova and SPSS. So just a quick reminder, an Anova is a statistical measure that allows us to look at the differences and averages between one categorical variable and one continuous variable. Now, some of you may be kind of thinking, well, that's exactly what an independent t-test does as well, right? It looks at, one categorical, one continuous. Keep in mind with the independence samples t-test, the two groups need to be mutually exclusive. But what happens if you are looking at a categorical variable that has more than two groups, has maybe three or more groups? This is whenever it's appropriate to use an ANOVA. An ANOVA allows us to analyze more than one group, more than one category within that categorical variable, and assess whether or not there is a difference between those different groups. Now, if you look at the data view, you'll see that we have two variables listed, one as dosage level and the other as reported pain. In this scenario, we are going to assess if there is a difference between different doses of medication and individuals' reported pain. So our dosage level is going to be our categorical variable that is indicated by three different categories, which are categorized one, two, or three. And our reported pain is going to be our continuous variable. And this kind of exists on a spectrum with higher scores reporting more severe pain, less lower scores reporting less severe pain. So first, we need to go to variable view to make sure that we set up our variables correctly. Again, dosage level is going to be our categorical variable. So with that in mind, we need to make sure that we are assigning values appropriately. Make sure that we enter our values as they appear. We did use the values 1, 2, and 3. Value number 1 corresponds to a low dose. We got value 2 kind of corresponds to a moderate dose. And then value 3 responds to a high dose. Again, you will be given this information in the prompt itself, but it is important to make sure as you are entering the data on SPSS that you keep notes along the side so you are able to assign your values to the label and SPSS knows what they correspond to. So after you've entered the different groups in your categorical variable, you're going to press OK. You're going to make sure that the measure is nominal because again, categories. So make sure that it is a nominal level variable. And then in regards to reported pain, this is going to be our continuous variable. So make sure that it is listed appropriately. Make sure that measure is scale. No need to mess with the values. And then you can go back to data view. Now that everything is set up, we can begin to run our analysis. So you're going to press on Analyze. You're going to go to Compare Means. And then you're going to go to One-Way ANOVA. After you select on this type of box will pop up. Put reported pain, your continuous variable, into your dependent list, because this is our dependent variable. And then our categorical variable, this dosage level, is going to go to this factor option listed here at the bottom. You can go ahead and click off Estimate Effect Size for overall test, and then you can run the analysis. Now, thankfully, the outputs that we get for one-way ANOVAs are relatively small, so not too much information to kind of sift through here. We can see that we have our degrees of freedom here between groups. We have 2 degrees of freedom. Within groups, there are 22 degrees of freedom. We're also able to see our F value of 1.272. And then we see our associated probability or the significance value of 0.3. Now it's from this 0.3 value that we compare our alpha level to determine whether or not there is a statistically significant difference between the different groups or not. So with this value being over 0.05, we failed to reject the null hypothesis, and there is no statistically significant difference between the different dosages as stated in the study.